Hey everybody, welcome to Round the Twist, episode 219. Oop, helps if I'm on the right page. It is September 2nd, 2015. And yeah, I'm back. Another week. Here we go. I'm sorry if the whole picture is tilted a little bit. I'm just noticing I thought I had the camera vertical, but my tripod tips just a little evidently, so I'm sorry. It's probably just very slightly off kilter, but if I wouldn't have said anything, none of you probably would have noticed, but there you go. I've got puppies, again, no babies, they're napping. We'll see how long that lasts, but if you hear snuffling, waffling, that's Phoebe over here. If you hear tags jingling, that's Daisy over here. I don't think either one of them will come up. Daisy, you want to come up? Phoebe? Nope, they're just going to look at me and wheeze. That's great. So what I have on the needles, because hello, this is a knitting crafting show, right? Well, first things first, priorities. Let's grab the coffee. I broke out my Doctor Who mug. San Marco's pumpkin spice this time. And I know. It's that time of year where everyone breaks out pumpkin spice. So I'm trying to push fall along a little bit. By doing this, I actually had huckleberry already ground, but right before I came down, I was like, ooh, no, I feel like pumpkin spice. So that's what I have. It's a lot smoother and not so wah in your face pumpkin spice, like a lot of stuff from various coffee chains seems to me. I don't care for, every year I get at least one pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. And every year I go, why did I just do that? It's too, I guess, too in your face with the pumpkin and the spice for me. This is a lot more subtle, so I like it a lot better. So first things first, what I have on my needles. Only two things this week, and one didn't get very much work on it, but this first one did. This is the Nyan Cat sock, second sock. My Nyan Cat SSK sock, actually. First one, it's right here. Still haven't done the heel because I'm lazy. Haven't done it. It's been sitting down here waiting. And I decided to wait because I didn't want to have that toe yarn tied up because this one was progressing so well. And I actually needed a, well, let me give you the vital stats before I talk about that. Makes sense, right? So the yarn is the Bedazzled base from Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and let me flip it for you. It's a 75-25-5 superwash merino nylon and stellina. I think it's stellina. Yep, stellina. Fingering weight along with the contrast for the heels and toes. So you get 600 plus yards of yarn, which is ridiculous. But this is from the first year that I went to SSK, so it's 4 years old. I dug in the stash to get something out. Please don't scratch, Phoebe. I just gave you a bath. You shouldn't be itching. Yeah. I'm knitting it up on US 1's 2.25 millimeter needle. Obviously, with this dangly circular, I am magic looping. But I got a lot done on this. Last week, I was still working on the ribbing and cursing myself for making it so long. But I made it through that and zoomed down the leg. Oh my gosh, I don't know why this sock just appealed to me. I think we all need rainbows in our lives every so often, and this was my rainbow. This was my happy place this week. Loving it, because, I mean, hello, I just did like 7 inches of sock in a week. That's nuts. Probably 2 inches of it was just done Monday. I was supposed to work. I actually got canceled, but I also woke up super early because I wasn't able to flip my sleep schedule quite well enough overnight, and I'd slept for part of the night. So I got up early, and while the twins were napping, hubby and I were down here. He was playing Assassin's Creed Unity, and I was helping him. He's trying to get it 100% done, and before the next Assassin's Creed, which I believe is Syndicate, comes out, which I've already pre-ordered for him, of course, because, anyway. So I was sitting there with my phone, looking up where, because he was trying to find all the chests and all the collectibles and all that, and he'd found the majority of them, but there were just a few, so I was helping him find those, and in between him running doing his little parkour, do 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 do. He does like his own theme music while he's doing it. It's adorable. But while he was doing that and running from place to place, I'd look up where it was and he'd mark it on the map, and then he'd take off with his character running, and I'd pick up my sock and I'd knit, and I got a huge amount of this done, so I was thrilled. Managed to get past the heel. There's my waist yarn for my afterthought heel. Kind of forethought heel, since I put the waist yarn in. It's not true afterthought because I'm not cutting. But yeah, that's where that is. But so Assassin's Creed, I'll talk about that a little bit. I know Sadie from the Yarnivore podcast. I know she and her hubby are gamers as well. And Assassin's Creed, I think this is the fifth or sixth game. I think Syndicate might be the sixth. I can't remember for sure. It's this group called the Assassins versus the corrupt Knights Templar, and you are cast as an assassin and you're trying to stop the Knights Templar from taking over the world, basically. And every game takes place in a different time period. So originally, the first one, I believe, takes place during the Crusades. There's one that takes, gosh, I can't remember. I know the first one takes place during the Crusades. The second one, I can't remember. And then there was another kind of in-between-ish one that I can't remember because I wasn't around when those came out. Assassin's Creed 3 takes place during the American Revolution. And you're participating in that, helping the Americans win the revolution, obviously. Assassin's Creed, well, the fourth one was Black Flag, which took place in the Caribbean, and you're a pirate, which is really cool. That was a really fun one to help him with. And then Unity, which opened up, you could buddy up with other players that were on the network and do missions together. Well, they didn't mention you also have to pay for that privilege, and hubby likes to do things on his own so other people don't screw up what he does anyway. So he just kind of did things on his own. And there are a few missions that you have to do, or that are easier if you have multiple people in on them, but he managed to get those done as well. And then Syndicate, the new one that's coming out this fall that I've already pre-ordered for him, because like the last three, Assassin's Creed 3, Black Flag, and Unity all came out like right around our wedding. So I actually got him Assassin's Creed 3 as a wedding gift, Black Flag as our 1-year anniversary, Unity as our 2-year anniversary, and now he'll get Syndicate as our 3rd-year anniversary gift, along with maybe something else. We'll see how much he begs me to have it before our anniversary, because I think it comes out in early October. I could be the mean wife and make him wait a month and a half, but I don't know. I don't feel like being that diabolical. So I just might have to come up with a different anniversary present, and that's fine. Second thing that I'm working on, this did not get nearly the amount of love that I wished it would have, is my shawl design. I was inspired during the Shaping Shawls class by Susan B. Anderson, that I took it this year at SSK. Knitting this up out of some hand spun I did from Fiber Optics, one of Kimber's wonderful, wonderful gradients, the Rouge Violet Cerulean. I ended up with around 515, 520 yards of fingering weight Navajo ply. And so, you know, I've been moving that stitch marker up every week. And the last few weeks I've had several inches. Yeah, this is pathetic. I had just done that first row of eyelets. There's my little stitch marker. This is how much I've done. Like, let's see. 2, 6, 10, like 14 more rows, but they are getting longer. The whole thing, let me stretch it out the correct way so you can kind of get an idea. Oh, and it's not going to look nice because of the way it's bunching up on the needle, so it kind of looks like that. I have made it through the violet section. I am into the blue, but it is going to transition a little bit more. I don't know how well the camera is going to show this. I'm filming a little later in the afternoon, so I don't have the natural light, as much natural light coming in the window, but we'll see. There is kind of that slightly lighter turquoise in the center. I can see it with my naked eye, but we'll see how it translates on here. I need to finish this section of 6 close eyelet rows, and then I don't know where I'm going to go from there, if I'm going to keep going with the wider stripes, because I won't be able to get, I'm pretty sure, out of this little bit, I'm not going to be able to get 7 full wider stripes out of this. That's just not going to happen. Stop with the scratching, Cooper. But it's knitting up really well. I'm liking the fabric. I'm knitting on a US 5, a 3.75 millimeter needle, and I'm sorry, my nose is running. Pardon my sniffles. Ugh. But yeah, so let me move my stitch marker up so I can, again, next week show you my, what I'm sure will still be pathetic progress. So move that up to there. There we go. So we're all set. So this is coming along. This used to be, I'd pull this out while the twins were up, and I don't know, the rows are getting so long that it's kind of a pain to take out right now, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I love the colors. I'm loving how it knits up. So as soon as this is done, I'm going to write up the pattern and find some test knitters, and then I'll release it for you guys. But yeah, that's it for what's on my needles. I have nothing for spinning, again. But I do have progress on one of my pokey things. Actually did this morning. I woke up wide awake at 2 a.m. because this whole flipping the sleep schedule back and forth stinks. It's awful. Went to bed at like 10 last night and woke up wide awake at 2. It is what it is. My sleep schedule's still going to be a little weird with this mid-shift thing. So, last week I talked about, this is A Very Merry Christmas Town by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's their current Christmas mystery stitch-along, I guess you'd call it. Last week, right after I recorded, they released Clue 2. And I wasn't sure when I'd be able to finish Clue 1. Well, that was in the wee hours of this morning. So Clue 1 is done. I have finished the toy shop, even all the embellishments. I was thinking I was going to leave all the little gold bits, the door handle and Santa's belt buckle there. I thought I was going to leave those until the end because they're such small bits that I thought, okay, then I can just thread the needle and just get it all over with. But then I went, no, you know what? Let's do this. So, let's see, last week, I don't think I had the roof on yet. I didn't have all the snowflakes finished. Santa and the elf were still missing faces. The train was still missing its wheels. What else did I do? I feel like I did a lot, but it was a lot of little, small spaces that I had left to do. But it's done, finished. But let me show you something. Okay, you might notice, I got a couple needles sticking out of my bag when I'm stitching. I actually set the bag flat like this next to me. It's meant to stand up. It's got a nice firm base. But I fold it over, set it next to me. This is where my any spare threads, because you separate out the embroidery thread, the DMC in my case, you separate that out so you're only using 2 strands at a time, and there's 6 strands in the strand that pulls off the skein. So I've got bits laying everywhere, and to help keep track of them, since I'm under a blanket and there's kind of stuff everywhere, I stick it on the bag because they stick. It's perfect. And I also take my needles and jab my needles into it. Oop, not like that. If I have a partial one. This morning I had at one point I think 5 needles stuck into here because it was all small little things, but I needed that color on the opposite side. Like working on Santa's face, I wanted to get that in the middle of the hoop as close as I could, but that put the hoop right here, so I couldn't just do Santa's face and pop right over. So I finished everything with Santa and then moved the hoop over so it was more over here, so the elf was in the middle, and then I finished with the elf. The other thing I discovered, now, and you guys all know my struggle with the metallic gold DMC floss. Oh, the hate, loathing that comes in me with that crunchy nastiness that is DMC metallic gold. However, I'll pull a couple things out here. Where is it? oh, there it is. The kit that I got from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery that came with all the threads, it came with needles, it came with the fabric, it came with the cute little thread sorter card thing that I'm not going to pull out because it's a hot mess right now. One thing that it came with is the Kreinik Metallics Fine Braid Gold. So I'd never used this before. It comes on a little spool. And I was kind of dubious from past experience with that DMC metallic gold. Honestly, I mean, they say right in the pattern to use Thread Heaven, which is like a beeswax that you can slick it down with if it's too crunchy for you. This, compared to the DMC metallic gold, I will buy this in a heartbeat over that crunchy, nasty junk in there because, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I didn't even have any Thread Heaven. The biggest problem I had with the Kreinik, which I'm probably not pronouncing that right, is I couldn't get it to thread through the little needles they sent. So what they sent is the Bohin size 26, which are wonderful, teeny little tapestry needles. They are still sharp. They say blunt point. Bull crap, that's a blunt point. I don't know what a sharp point is. Poked myself so many stinking times. However, I couldn't get, you just use a single strand of this. That's the other thing. And you can kind of see it sticking out there. Whereas with the DMC, I'd use one strand of that and one strand of a regular kind of matchy gold colored embroidery floss to make it work a little better. The eye on those Bohin needles is too, for me anyway, I could not get the stupid stuff through. I couldn't. It wouldn't go through for me. So what I did, I pulled out the needle that I've been using for my Once Upon a Time sampler. I actually took it off the needle minder. I was just like, I didn't want to sort through and pull out this whole thing to get another one. So this is the needle that I used for the metallic gold. And that's why I've got it still stuck on here, because I still had this length of metallic gold left. And I was like, heck if I am going to unthread that needle and have to rethread it for the next section over, which has a ton of gold, which I'll show you in just a second. But I got these years ago. They are Yarnology counted cross stitch needles. It actually says it on there. The eye on them is larger and wider. I got these, I believe, at Hobby Lobby, either Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I can't remember, but love these. This is what I've been using on the Once Upon a Time sampler, which is sitting right there. That's why I was reaching that direction. And it's working for the metallic gold, so yay! Very excited. I'm loving how this is coming along. And sure enough, that evening, right almost a few hours after we talked, the Frosted Pumpkins sent through the next clue, which I basically, what I do is I send it to my home, I open it on my home computer, save it to my hard drive so that I have it, and then I send it to myself via email as an attachment. And that means I can, if I send it to my Gmail, I can open it on my iPad and send it to PDF Expert. That's what I have, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to show you, that was a little bit of the chart, but let me show you. Come on. Ashley and Amanda are amazing at Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. They really are. So what they've done, let me get another drink here. What they've done is, obviously this whole thing has been stitched up for a while and they're using a sample from that. And as each clue releases, they've, like when clue 1 released, they've photoshopped out everything on either side of clue 1 and underneath. So the second bit is going to be Mrs. Claus outside the candy store, which is just adorable, but there is a ton of that metallic gold. So I was very, very glad that the metallic gold is not as nasty as the DMC version. And I'm definitely going to shell out the extra money to get the Kreinik metallic gold braid because it stitches up so much better. Seriously, I would not be singing its praises if it was bad, you guys. I just, let's see, what else? What else can I tell you? Oh, let's just move on to various and sundry. I gave in. Of course, I don't have it open on here. The sugar maple sweater that I showed, the little knitted tee that I showed you guys last week that had the little point, asymmetrical point on the front. Well, I bought the pattern, obviously, but I also bought yarn for it. So Steve from Leading Man Fiber Arts, I kind of wanted to use one of his gradients. I tried to purchase during the birthday sale they were having, and the only color that would have really looked good on me was the Emerald City. The rest was all oranges and yellows, and that was just no. Went to add it to my cart. They only had enough for one gradient set, and I need 2 to have enough yardage for the size that I need to knit. So I was just like, oh, okay, well that just means I don't need to get it right now. And then yesterday morning, I saw Steve, or Monday night, Steve had posted an update saying on Instagram saying, hey, updates on Leading Man Fiber Arts. So I went over and looked, and oh my gosh, there was a set of blues, and it is called Blue Ink. It goes from almost like a navy blue through royal blue up to like a powder blue at the very lightest end. Gorgeous. And I was like, oh, I don't need to get it right now. I'll be good. I'm not going to start it right away. Checked the next morning. It was still available. Came down. Oh, yes, he had 2 sets. So, oh, yes, it's on its way to me. And literally ordered it that morning. By that evening, it was already like registering via USPS.com that it had shipped. Steve, awesome. You're amazing. Can't wait for it to get here. It's going to be really exciting. I need to get back to, I'm going to try to be good and finish my county before I start it, but I want that sweater. I want the sugar maple so bad. So bad! So, yay. Next, iTunes issues. Everyone who said over on the Ravelry board that they couldn't see the show via iTunes or it wasn't downloading. I am so sorry. I have no idea what happened. Last Wednesday, I uploaded it, tried to get it to go. For some reason, I don't know why, Podcast Garden was acting really screwy that night. And I thought I had it set. I hit upload and it immediately went done. And I was like, it's not done. It never is that quick. What's going on? And sure enough, I went over, there was no file. Like the file didn't attach itself. So I went, huh, what? Turned out I needed to, because the show was so long, I need to compress the file twice. Compressed it a second time, uploaded it. It still acted a little weird, but it should have gone through. So there's an upset between Podcast Garden and iTunes, and I don't have any control over that. So hopefully this week's show goes better. If that ever happens again, I apologize, but I don't have control over it. Once I get it to Podcast Garden, it's up to them to get it to iTunes. That's what I'm paying them for. And you can always, always, always come over to Ravelry. Every week I post a link to the blog that has the show embedded on it, or you can go over to YouTube as well and subscribe over there, because I always upload it to YouTube as well. YouTube actually lets me upload a higher resolution video, which is amazing. They've improved so much since 6 years ago when I was setting a kitchen timer, and when it hit about 9 minutes and 40 seconds, I was like, okay, we're going on to part 2, and I'd stop the show and start a second file because they wouldn't let me go over 10 minutes. Things have changed so much in 6 years. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm very, very sorry, but really nothing I can do about it. Last thing, I had to rework the work schedule with my new role, job, responsibilities, whatever you want to call it. Whatever, my new position. There we go, that's a word. With my new position at work and my new shifts, I'm having to shift what days I'm working around. I'm working every other Wednesday, so rather than only give you guys a show every other week, I looked at the schedule and I am off every single Thursday. So Rather than record on Wednesday and you'll be able to see it on Thursday, I will now be recording on Thursday starting this next week. So we'll go a week and a day. Record on Thursday. You should be able to view it, depending on how technology is acting, either by very late on Thursday night or early Friday morning. And remember, I'm in Mountain Time now, so keep your eyes peeled. Probably most likely by Friday morning, everything will be up and ready for you. I think that's everything. I hope that's everything. I don't even know if I've forgotten everything. I still haven't heard the babies. They went down for naps around 11:30, 11:45, and it is now, what time is it? 2:15, 2:20. I don't know if I should go wake them up or let them sleep. I think they're both going through growth spurts right now, which is great fun. They're eating us out of house and home. And yeah, I'm gonna try at some point to get them down here. I need to baby proof a lot more before I bring them down here again. We've got wires and stuff everywhere, and yeah, I need to get that taken care of before I bring them down and have them on the show again. So I'm sorry if you're disappointed that you're not seeing the twins a little more, but they're kind of into everything and they're very, very chatty, and yeah. So that's it. Until next week, happy knitting.